The trauma of self-abandonment 20 surgeries later. This video is about how traumatic emotional events tell our inner story, eventually in physical health challenges. Example, firefighters are trained before the fire. We are not trained or prepared for traumatic events. Instead, we instantly internalize them and watch them appear in health issues. The question is, changes in life will always happen. Are we trained to recover rather quickly or abandon ourselves unprepared and accept possible surgeries? Today I have the honor of interviewing a client that before I met her had 20 surgeries. Listen closely. Learn how our emotional grievances, our losses, our silent rage, our family secrets, and not knowing how to speak our true feelings, we abandon our true selves and silently suffer. We have charted each of her surgeries with the emotional event that happened weeks or months before each diagnosis. Our mission in sharing her story is that you can learn. Body pain is a call for help, not to be ignored, as the pain will scream louder, like a big billboard trying to get your attention. You might have to learn the hard way in order to honor your soul and not abandon it. Now is the time to learn how to holistically maintain your body and, like the firefighters, be prepared how to care for your sacred self. At the end, we will share helpful ways to prevent this endless suffering by being prepared. You will want to take notes. I'm Georgie Holbrook. I'm not a doctor. For 30 years, I have been a holistic teacher and emotional mentor. I love what I do. I've helped over 2,000 people, both nationally and internationally, find natural solutions. I'm a rare, gifted, intuitive healer. I interpret what your soul is trying to tell you to regain your joy, health, and happiness. Holistic means whole person, W-H-O-L-E, person answers. Let's begin. What type of work did you do before you retired?
I taught general music to elementary students from kindergarten through 5th grade.
What did you like about your husband when you first met him?
I admired the fact that he was a music teacher and a church elder and taught Bible studies.
Before I met you, what was your typical day like?
After I retired, I spent most days in bed with extreme jaw and neck pain. My skull felt tight and painful. I did ice and heat packs 3 to 4 hours a day.
How long had this pain been going on?
For 17 years. I was still teaching elementary students when the pain started, immediately after my husband announced he had been having an affair. Back then, I did not tie the dots together that my angry jaws were screaming. Gradually, the pain got worse, and my dentist's solution was various dental mouth guards to ease and release my jaw pain. I was clenching and grinding my teeth at night. Georgie has taught me I had internalized rage and how to release it.
I can see why your husband's behavior would have been totally confusing when he announced he was having an affair. This man, who was a church elder and taught Bible principles. I know when I first met you, you looked very sick. I happened to see auras. I said to myself, this lady looks more dead than alive. You were so gray. You tried to convince me you were married 43 years to your soulmate. I wasn't convinced. Out of your 20 surgeries, which one do you regret the most?
I had my thyroid removed without ever asking questions about the consequences after surgery. That happened 14 years ago, and daily I still have to monitor my thyroid medications because I will have up and down mood changes. My body will warm up or I will get chilled, With my sleep cycle, I may have trouble going to sleep and staying asleep, versus some days I want to sleep all day. I'm still angry at the doctor for not telling me how important my thyroid was and what it does. It regulates almost every major organ in my body. In my innocence, I believed my doctor who said my thyroid had to be removed. I had been in so much pain with health issues. When he told me surgery was my answer, I answered him, "Just rip it out," not realizing it was my internal rage doing the talking, and that I hated my body and cursed it often.
Soon after we met, you came for your first session with me as a client. You announced that you were not interested in looking at your emotions. You said, "I don't do emotions." I laughed and said to myself, "That's the only way we can ever heal." I got you on my massage table with your clothes on to do a little craniosacral therapy, teaching you how to relax your body. As soon as you started to relax and you felt safe, you started crying. No, you really started loudly moaning. Loud enough, I thought my neighbors would think you were dying. You had been holding in so much inner pain that for the next hour, you just moaned. Once you started crying with my help, I knew your body as your friend would teach you how to self-heal. When did your husband go from being a social drinker to drinking daily and getting drunk, and you having to have your neck surgery, carpal tunnel surgery on both wrists?
Soon after he lost his job, he started getting drunk, and within a few months, I started having hands and wrist pain. Georgie shared that the emotions behind my hands was built up rage at wanting to pound on something to express the unfairness in life. Instead, I internalized my pain, and both hands had surgery.
List briefly some of the other surgeries that followed traumatic events in your life.
Soon after my father died, I had a hysterectomy and angry, benign fibroid cysts removed. Georgie taught me that I didn't know how to cry and grieve my father's death. Instead, I acted strong and numbed out. That female issues are directly related to my inability to show all my feelings and deny them. When my mother died, my one and only sibling, my sister, treated me nasty, wanting to control mother's assets. I was still a full-time music teacher, and my stress level was out of control. I stuffed enough anger that it showed up in a fatty tumor larger than a grapefruit that I had surgically removed. Georgie asked me, "If this tumor could have talked, what would it have told you?" I said, holding in many years of resentments and never getting to enjoy my life.
Share one more surgery, as there isn't enough time to share all of them.
We got a call in the middle of the night that my father-in-law and his wife had stopped at a stop sign where two young men, wanting to rob them, shot and killed both of them. I went nuts. It was in my head. It was horrible. Soon after, I had my gallbladder removed, the second operation I regretted having.
Gallbladder represents our bitterness and rage. Without knowing how to release our daily upsets, traumas, and events like this one, we are unprepared. What would happen if a fireman was unprepared when there was a fire? I am talking about the people that go through life thinking nothing will ever happen to them, and when it does, they have heart attacks or worse. I've met some of them. Unprepared, we automatically automatically, I'm telling you, internalize our trauma. I believe you will never have another surgery. Tell us what your life now is like when you transformed your health and life.
Georgie helped me get a divorce from a man that, in my thinking, has 3 addictions that he enjoys: pornography, alcohol, and nudity. As a father, he destroyed our family seeking self-pleasure. I originally told Georgie that he was my soulmate. My soul and spirit had died to the point the only thing I had left was to pretend I was happy to keep from going insane with feeling so ashamed being married to him. Funny looking back on how I was lying to myself just to live another day, faking my reality.
You are writing a book right now in hopes of helping others learn from what you have overcome and how they can avoid abandoning themselves. How does it feel to write your story and get the lessons you learned on paper?
Georgie has been helping me write my story and diving deeper into all the ways I suffered from emotional unhappiness, teaching me how to release the many years of accumulated emotional pain and experiencing a freedom I didn't know possible. I feel my hidden emotions are still being released, and I'm at peace. I love myself and my new life.
What does a typical day of yours look like now?
I do more things that I love, like playing and singing with my cello, guitar, and my new piano. I get out in nature often and take photos of trees and plants, beautiful flowers, animals, and sunsets. I love to draw and paint and compose my own songs. Some things I never thought I could do.
What message would you like to leave our listeners today?
Learn to listen to and to follow your God-given intuition. Learn to love yourself so much that you care for yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Most of all, be honest with yourself and your true feelings.
You might want to take notes here. We are going to share some suggestions we both came up with. You were born to live in harmony with nature. I call it your sacred self. You were born with a purpose and passion as unique as your fingerprints. Your creator, known by many names. I'll say that again. Your creator, known by many names, did not create you to act small, be confused, or be neglected or abused. Here are some of the ideas we came up with.
If and when you have pain, see it as your friend reaching for help. Get quiet enough to listen and ask it, if you could talk, what would you tell me? Try self-nurturing, not cursing it. Try drawing your pain on paper and ask it questions like, how can I help you heal?
From my own experience at age 42, by a divine appointment, I found a mentor that taught me how I had abandoned my true self, starting at age 14 when I was date raped, that I had taken on a work addiction that almost killed me. I find that clients that have tried changing their lives by themselves, that it's much harder, even for some impossible to change or even ask others for help. We transform our lives when we admit we need help and then pick a guide that has walked this sacred path before you. Pick someone that has transformed their lives and lives by example.
Without learning Georgie's wisdom, I never would have learned the importance of my own intuition and emotions. I might not be alive today. I rarely felt safe to speak my own feelings, let alone knowing what I was feeling. I would suggest you learn and not avoid this life-giving step. You could study with Georgie and learn from her 5 self-help books.
Invest in yourself. Learn a whole person approach that practices natural principles, that complements your health and lifestyle. Above all, learn to be prepared for emergencies, both with natural remedies and how to calm yourself down in the middle of any type of storm.
Learn not to shame yourself for past surgeries or where you have made what feels like wrong choices. Forgive yourself. You have always done the best you have known how in any given moment. Seek your own freedom. Today is a new day to enjoy and start over.
Learn to meditate. One idea, sit for 5 minutes and breathe into a count of 4 and out to a count of 6. This will calm your mind and body down. And then start adding more minutes to it, maybe 10 minutes, but practice it. My mission is to share ancient natural remedies before they are lost and taken over by medication and drug care and abandoned for life. The 3rd largest killer in the United States is prescribed medications. Nature by design, you can trust, prove, and enhance your life. Educating yourself is a gift that keeps on giving. Natural remedies complement medical doctors that specialize in isolated body parts. We need both. So holistically, I look at your whole body and your lifestyle situation. Together, we can learn to fall in love and rescue our sacred self. I'm Georgie Holbrook. Click on the link below. I have a free discovery call about my holistic training. I teach principles that you can trust and prove. And from your very first session, I'm telling you, from your very first session, you will start to experience improvements. I would be honored to help you thrive and fall in love with the confidence that comes when you know how to care for yourself and practice prevention. You will walk proud, and even your body language will appear stronger. From both of us, we send you joyful blessings. Thanks for sharing this video. Together, we can make a difference in preventing suffering and honoring our true self around the world. Enjoy and share.